Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you. The proceedings of this meeting are being recorded. My name is Kathy McClendon, Zeta Chapter of Delta Kappa Gamma, Ohio, and I'm chairman of your foundation for the 2019 through 2021 biennium. I want to welcome you to this, the third annual meeting of Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation. This foundation is the one that really helps DKG members in Ohio fulfill the purpose 5 and 6 of our DKG purposes. I am so happy to see all of your smiling faces. The meeting will now come to order. To facilitate our agenda, I will summarize some of the Zoom ground rules that I had posted and that we'll be using today. Everyone needs to stay muted unless you're recognized to speak. Now, hopefully everyone has taken their cursor and moved around. If you're on a computer, I believe to the bottom of your screen where there's that microphone, and you just click it to, so that it's a red with a cross, X across it, or you unclick it to speak, okay? And we also suggest that you set your screen on speaker view. So that's up at the right-hand corner. It'll either say gallery view if everybody's being shown, or it will say speaker view if you see one person. And that one person is the person who is speaking. You will mainly want to participate through chat. Now again, chat is at the bottom of the screen. You take your cursor down, at least on my screen, and it's about in the middle. You click on chat and it'll open up into a box where different people have spoken. It's best if you communicate with everyone, because then anybody who knows the answer to your question can respond. Hopefully, if your question is, if the agenda presentation that you're listening to brings up a burning question, then start with the topic or that presenter's name in your chat message and type your question, okay? We're not going to have question and answers during the presentations, but it'll be a little different when we have a motion, okay? So that's enough to remember for now. And I'll tell you about how we will do discussion during the motion once we get to that point. Okay? So, Eileen, if you would please share the agenda. Hopefully, everyone printed out their agenda so you can jot notes if you want to or whatever. It's a pretty simple agenda. The annual meeting agenda is the official order of business. All documents related to the business of this meeting have been sent to you, some of them multiple times back in March, or they've been posted on the ADSOEF website. For today, Joyce Joan Wincombe, Gamma Xi, is the parliamentarian. Director Diana Kirkpatrick, Alpha Delta, is our host for the meeting, as well as president of OSO. Eileen McNally, Beta Delta, is our webmaster running the slides. Dr. Norman Kirby, Alpha Delta, is your foundation secretary. And Diana Haskell, Gamma Phi, is foundation treasurer. All directors who are chairman of standing committees will be introducing themselves as they give their presentations. Okay, so you can take that down if you want. So let's look at our first item of business on the agenda. The minutes of the April 5th, 2019 annual meeting have been distributed. So are there any corrections to these minutes? If you found something, please type the word correction into chat. and we'll look for that. I don't see anybody writing a correction in there. So the minutes are approved as distributed. Thank you. Eileen, if you would share the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Eileen. I too welcome you to this annual meeting. As stated earlier, my name is Diana Haskell from Gamma Phi chapter in the greater Cincinnati area. In the next 4 slides, I will review with you the financial information that you as members of our foundation expect to learn during any annual meeting. The set of slides review the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 through June 30th of 2020. The financial data that is presented is unaudited. In this report, we will review revenue, investments, expenses, financial activity, and position for the fiscal year. Next slide, please. This slide shows the revenue sources of the foundation for this year. The net total revenue of $9,353 come from 4 major sources. You'll note that the first bar is titled Other Income. $4,422 other income was directed to member scholarships. The total, this other income, is the result of an unused scholarship award and the collected Ohio State Organization scholarship fees paid by members with their dues. The next 2 bars show investment losses and interest and dividends on investments. These will be further reviewed in the next slide. However, please note that during the fiscal year, the equities markets were trending upward through January, and then the markets became very volatile beginning in February. The investment loss bar notes the change in market value of the foundation portfolio of $14,000. The investment interest and dividends bar show the income from those 2 sources. The next bar down is hardly visible. It's so tiny. This little tiny revenue stream is from our money market interest, and it represents about $100. Contributions, our final bar of $8,588, come from you, our generous donors. They were sent by chapters in response to their commitments and from the Building from the Heart campaign. Due to COVID-19 shelter-in-place restrictions, our fundraising events were not held, thus impacting the number of donors who likely would have participated. Next slide, please. As I stated earlier, this slide shows the total of all of our investment accounts. The graph represents, as you can see, beginning in June of 2019, that upward trend in the equities markets through January. A dip in February as the markets begin to respond to COVID-19 and the impact that that virus will have on employment and economic growth. That begins in February, takes a deep drop in March, some rebound in April, a little rebound in May, and just about the same in June. One of the things that I'd like to point out is as we concluded the year in June, and those numbers on the right side are in thousands, so we're about $524,000, does not yet equal the beginning of the year. So we're down from the beginning of the year, July 1, at the end of the year. The graph explains for you the revenue loss of the $14,000 reported in the previous slide. And as I noted, the portfolio did benefit from dividend and investment growth of $10,000. So the net result was a loss of $3,800 to our portfolio. Next slide, please. These are the expenses of the foundation, and we unpack those expenses in 3 groups. The foundation reports these categories: operating expenses, fundraising expenses, and program expenses. The total foundation expenses of $15,212 are represented below. The operating expenses represented 24% of all expenses. Our fundraising expenses, again, another tiny little line, represent 1%, and that's about $150. Our program expenses are noted in the 2 bars that follow. Program expenses of $3,867 were direct expenses in some cases and allocated expenses in others. And the program awards bar of $7,500 shows you that that was the largest expense that the foundation had. The total percentage of expense for programs was 75%. Next slide, please. And this final slide shows the financial activity and position of each fund managed by the foundation. So if you look across the top, you'll see in alphabetical order each fund. Educational projects on the left, international studies, etc., over to student teacher grants. And those are alphabetized for your ease in reviewing those. Let's take a look first at the yellow bar across the first row. This is the beginning balance of each fund. One of my purposes in showing you this is to give you an overview that every fund is managed separately. They're not held in separate accounts, but they are accounted for separately. Each fund has a revenue stream. Each fund has an expense stream. Going down the column, you'll note that some areas had revenue, some areas did not. Each fund does have expenses, and they also vary. Again, direct and allocated, as well as fundraising and operating, as we had talked about before. The report has a second yellow bar at the near the bottom, and that shows the balance at the end of the year. So the beginning of the year was the top row, and the bottom shows where that fund was at the end of the year. Donations that have been directed to a fund, and if you look at revenue, line number 1 is public support and contributions. So as a donor makes a contribution, that contribution is recorded in the fund to which the donor wishes her money or his money to be used. That money may not be used by any other fund. So if you've been donated to leadership development, it may not be used by any other fund. The final lines, as you move down past the fund balances, show the position. So for example, in the International Studies Fund, we have $200,633 as the year ends. Where is that money and how is it held? The bottom lines show that $168,297 of that 200 are held in the investment portfolio and the remaining balance in cash. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as the treasurer of Alpha Delta State Education Foundation.
Thank you, Diana. Your report will be filed. The chair now recognizes the chairman of the Finance Committee, Meyer Bauer.
Meyer, unmute.
Meyer, please unmute.
There. Got it. Okay. Well, I'm Meyer Bauer from Gamma Phi in the Cincinnati area. The Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation proposed budget for June 1, 2020 for July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 fiscal year was included in the July edition of The Voice, has been sent to you with the registration for this meeting, and will be on the screen for your review. You can see that the Board of Directors is presenting a significant deficit budget with revenue of $9,500 and expenses of $37,184. We're going to first look at the revenues. This budget was developed before we were aware of the impact of COVID-19 and the resultant financial uncertainty. We were prepared to present this at the March annual meeting. Nonprofit organizations, including your educational foundation, are concerned about the impact of COVID-19. As you just heard, investments have been impacted, as well as our opportunity to meet together. And we do not know the impact on contributions from chapters and individuals. And yet we do know that you care about the awards which encourage professional growth of educators and educational excellence. Utilizing previous experience, we are anticipating your continued support and contributions. And as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, we have budgeted revenue of $9,500. Let's move on to the expenses. Expenses include management and operating costs, as well as awards. The operating costs are those of being in contact with one another on the board and with you, our members and supporters. We rely on electronic meetings and electronic communication with one another and with you as much as possible to lessen our expenses. You can see the amount of awards that your foundation wishes to make on your behalf, as well as some additional funds that are needed for expenses within international studies and student teacher grants. And the budgeted expenses are for $37,184. It is at this time that I wish to make a motion. I move that the members of Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation accept the 2020-2021 budget as presented, with the understanding that the director's legal duty to manage accounts requires them to routinely monitor the budget, track it throughout the year, and revise it as necessary. Madam Chairman.
Kathy, unmute.
Thank you, Meyer. I apologize for not being unmuted. Can you move the poll or take it down for right now, Diana? We have the motion on the screen otherwise, but it's covered up. And if you can't take the...
Everybody can move theirs. I can move mine. All they have to
Okay,
do.
move your own then. Okay, so you can move the ballot. Okay, got it. Hey, we'll learn. Thank you, Roberta. Okay, so there is no need for a second on this motion because it came from the Finance Committee to the Board of Directors, and the Board of Directors approved it there. So now, before we go ahead with any further explanation or anything else, I will explain to you how you can be recognized for the debate part of this motion. Okay? So when the chairman, when I state that I've put the motion on the floor, you may type question into the chat, or for motion or against motion, whatever you need to. And then when the chairman or one of the host or when a helper sees your topic, she'll call on you by name so that you can unmute. And you will unmute your microphone, state your name and chapter, and speak to the issue. So that's how we're going to do this debate part of this motion. Here we go. The motion is that the members of Alpha Delta State, Ohio Educational Foundation accept the 2020-2021 budget as presented, with the understanding that the director's legal duty to manage accounts requires them to routinely monitor the budget, track it throughout the year, and revise it as necessary. The motion is on the floor for debate. I am not seeing anything yet on the chat. However, I know sometimes it takes a while to figure out what you want to say. Somebody's calling in.
Hello.
I have a question,
Okay, let's see here. Who is this?
Barbara.
Barbara. Hi, Barbara. State your name and
Okay, Barbara Smith, Zeta Chapter. I
Thank
brought
you.
up the chat and I typed that I have a question, but then I don't know how to send it.
all you do with the chat is you press return, or are you on
That
it?
is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Carol Dunlap wants the review chart, revenue chart.
Back up. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Everyone may vote.
I will have to take this motion form down in order to bring the other up. Would you like me to do that?
Take the motion form down. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Yep.
And Roberta Phillips says to everyone to make sure that you have everyone selected to type your comment.
Oops.
Christine,
That the form you want?
Hmm.
Is that what they want up?
yeah, this is the, she wanted the revenue part. There we go. Okay. So,
Kathy, Chris Nutty has a question in chat.
yes. Okay, in a normal year, she says, and Chris, you might unmute and ask your question.
All righty. Normal meaning non-COVID year when we could have a convention and we could have in-person meetings. Would a budget be more balanced? Would we have revenues expected to be much higher and meeting those expenses?
I'm going to refer that to Diana Haskell, our treasurer.
Thank you, Meyer. And thanks, Chris, for a very good question, and one that I think is probably on many members' minds. This budget that you are looking at does in fact reflect a convention. It does in fact reflect a direct appeal, and it does in fact reflect a fundraiser, as well as the contributions that we might receive from chapters as well as individuals. So this particular budget with the small revenue amount does include the proposed revenues through fundraising as well as a direct appeal campaign. So our donor base is somewhat small, and our donors are generous, but the base is small. As a 3-year-old organization, our task is growing that donor base. And in order to do that, it does take time. So I think because of the age of the foundation, it's hard to know how long it will take us to get to a budget that looks more balanced than this one. And I'm not proposing that a balanced budget is always the right way to go, but I would suggest to you that this is a small revenue stream. And I know that the fundraising committee and donor relations and marketing, as well as all the directors, work very hard to bring this revenue stream up, make it higher, but this is what we feel we can do this year.
Should the interest that the funds earned, should that, a guess on that, be included in revenue? Because
Chris, I think that's an excellent question. We choose not to put that investment revenue as a stream for exactly the reason that we saw this past year. Markets are unpredictable, and making a projection a year out as to what the market will, how the market will perform and what the return will be, I think we have determined creates an unrealistic expectation. So just as we lost, $3,000 this year, next year or a year after that in a non-COVID environment, we may expect to see some revenue growth through our investments. But to plan on that is risky business.
Thank you, Chris, for your question. And thank you, Diana, for your response. Are there any more questions?
Hi, this is Roberta Phillips. I had a question regarding the expense for the awards, which it looked like, and I think part of it is because of our investment returns, just looked like it was high last year. Should we be looking at a way of trimming the cost of the awards in case we don't bounce back?
I will respond to that as one chairman of one of the award committees. I think that the finance committee would like to see that happen more often. That each of the committees responsible for awards to tighten their belt a bit. And yet we know how excited our members are when they can meet the student teachers, when they can meet the scholarships awardees, when they can meet an international student, when they can meet someone who has been granted an award for leadership or education. It makes each person feel as though their donation impacted someone else, and particularly the future of education. So I think it's a tough balancing act, and it's very hard. It's very hard to not make these awards or to trim the awards back. However, if it's the wish of the group that we do that, I think this is the time to speak up.
Diana, there is a question in the chat from Jane Meese. Jane, would you like to speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just didn't see that the statement of financial activity, not the budget. I didn't see it when I went out on the website to gather all of the documents for today's meeting, and I was just wondering, did I miss it, or can it be made available, or that's it?
I think if you're asking about my presentation, Jane, the last slide in my presentation, I believe, is on the website. And if you'd like to go back and take a look at how we ended the year, I think that's appropriate, particularly in light of this is where we're beginning the year. So that would be the last slide of the treasurer's report. And we can see how each fund is doing as the year ends, and whether those funds are in cash or in the portfolio. Most of our money is in the portfolio. However, we do hold cash for payment of awards and operating expenses, so that we don't have to trade. We don't want to trade. We kind of are we're in a buy and hold pattern.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Jane, would you be interested in seeing that slide again?
No, I would like to be able to print it. I like to study that sort of thing.
And I will respond to that. I did not get the information that this was supposed to be on the website, so it is not posted yet, but certainly it can be posted after this meeting. It will be posted tomorrow. How's that, Jane?
Okay, thank you.
Jane,
Right on.
McNally.
Yeah.
I am bringing this information up from OSO website, just to make it more easily handled by me. And for that purpose, until something is posted, go to the OSO website, lower or the left-hand corner at the bottom, and you will see everything that's being presented on the screen today.
Okay.
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you. Good information to know. Okay, we have another chat comment from Beth Archer. Do you want to speak, Beth? You're welcome to.
I just think at the birthday luncheon, when we have our students there, it is just one of the only times we ever really see what we have donated to. And I always think there's such a good feeling about having the students there. And I also think when possible, if we have an A. Margaret Boyd recipient, it's important to have that person come and speak, because that's one way of, maybe they will be more ready to contribute to that particular fund.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I think I don't see any other chat here. Yes? Am I muted?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Okay. So, I need to move my ballot out of the way again. There we go.
Can we repost the ballot?
What is that, Meyer?
Can we repost the ballot?
It's there.
I believe, Meyer, that once it's up and it's gone, it's gone. You can't bring it back again, I believe, but I've not used the polling portion of the Zoom program before.
I have it up. It says attendees are now viewing questions.
Okay,
Meyer, if you don't see it, you may have inadvertently reduced it. So if you minimize your other windows, it should still be there behind. And minimize is the little underscore that's in the upper right-hand corner.
okay. Debbie Cantor just said you can do polls and it will come back. Go to polls.
I have it posted.
Okay, so it should be there. Do you see it now, Meyer?
No.
Polls is at the bottom of your screen if you're on a computer. It's an icon you can click, and so the poll will come back or it'll minimize.
Is it a P?
It says polls, P-O-L-L-S.
So it's polls and it looks like a bar graph at the bottom. If you didn't already submit, it should be there.
Okay,
I have people voting, so.
okay.
That's fine.
Okay. I believe we are going to, the motion has been up. I will quickly read it one more time. We will vote and we will be done, I believe. So, are you ready for the question? The question is on the adoption of the motion that the members of Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation accept the 2020-2021 budget as presented, with the understanding that the director's legal duty to manage accounts requires them to routinely monitor this budget, track it throughout the year, and revise it as necessary. All in favor, mark yes on your ballot. Those against, mark no. And then submit your ballot, which is at the bottom. You may take the motion down, Eileen.
Not completed. They're not finished voting. I have 72, unless we've got some that are abstaining.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, 99% to 1%. Thank you very much. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Thank you, Meyer, and thank you, Foundation members, for participating in this very valuable discussion. It is important to know where our money comes from and goes, because this is a foundation that's business is money. Thank you.
Kathy,
Yes.
Sally Gilmore still has her hand raised.
Uh-oh. Sally Gilmore. Well, she just, can she open
Go
her?
ahead and speak, Sally. Go ahead.
Yes. Let me make sure I'm unmuted. Okay. No, my question, which was before the vote would have been, and it has to do with when we spend money on our student teacher people, what percentage of those people ever join Delta Kappa Gamma? I mean, it's not necessarily that we're not going to give them a scholarship so they think of us well, but how many, do we ever get any members from that group?
I can speak to that, Sally, as the treasurer of OSO. And the answer is, I do not believe so. At the current time, Ohio State Organization has one collegiate member, And I have not seen her name appear as an awardee at the state level through the foundation. She could have received a grant from one of the chapters. The chapters are extremely generous, as you know, in both scholarships and in student, teacher, and project awards. But I would have no knowledge of that. But that person's name was not a name that was one through which the foundation made an award.
Thank you. And I pressured R2, but once they were finished with their student teaching, I'm not sure they got jobs.
Mhm.
You know, that's the rest of the story. But I would like to know that if they got a job in Indiana, that they sought out the local Delta Kappa Gamma chapter and joined it. I don't know how we do that, but.
Mhm. Thank you, Sally. That's a very, very important point. And we do discuss some of those things in the board. Okay, are we ready to move along then? The next item of business is governance. Does our governance committee chairman have a report? Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon. I am the Governance Committee Chair, Karen Kern-Lazier from Gamma Phi Chapter in the greater Cincinnati area. The major focus of this committee during the 2019-2020 term was the revision of the bylaws. A motion to accept the new bylaws occurred at the February 1st, 2020 board meeting and was passed. I hope all of you have read about these changes in the voice, and the revised copy is on the ADSOEF website. The major changes occurred in Article 5, and that addresses the Board of Directors. You may have asked why changes were needed. After discussions, it was decided to enlarge the board to 10 members, all of who will be elected voting members. The expansion of the board permits a better division of jobs and responsibilities of the directors. Another change for the directors is the length of terms. This has been reduced to 2-year terms with a maximum of 3 terms or 6 years. Why this reduction? The directors who have served strongly believed that a 4-year term was too long of a commitment to make. So how do we expand the board? And will the terms be staggered as they are now? Yes, the terms will continue to be staggered with 5 directors in each group. This process will begin with the 2021 election of directors, when 7 will be elected, and then 5 will be elected in 2023, with yearly elections starting in 2024. I know this sounds complicated, and if you have any questions, please consult the bylaws or contact me. Due to the increase in the number of elections for the foundation and the number of candidates needed, an ongoing standing committee was created, Article 6, Section A, that is separate from the OSO nominating committee. We believed that this committee was needed so to not increase the OSO nominating committee's responsibilities, as that group had found candidates for the foundation previously. The nominating committee has begun its work to be ready for the 2021 election. Dr. Norma Kirby is chairing this committee and will give you specific information about their actions so far. Again, if you have any questions, please consult the website or contact me or any current director on the board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Karen. The nominating committee submitted a report that is recorded and under the annual meeting drop down on our website. But I do believe the chairman has a message to share right now. Dr. Kirby?
Thank you, Kathy. I'm Dr. Norma Kirby, and I am chairman of the nominating committee. Are you looking for a fun and fulfilling means to serve and advance education and the teaching profession? If what you've been hearing today has aroused your interest in Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation, and you would like to become more involved, you can become a director or you can serve on a foundation committee. As Karen said, 7 directors will be elected at the 2021 annual meeting. You have the opportunity to be the future of the foundation. You can also help build the future for educators in Ohio and around the world. Now on the next slide, you're going to see some comments and questions that you might have. You might say, well, what I have to offer is insignificant. I don't even have enough experience. But you are mistaken, because the foundation needs the talent and the skills you have to contribute. There will be an orientation for new directors to help you. Many policies and procedures are already in place that will help guide you. Experienced directors will answer questions and offer their support. And I want you to remember, Noah's Ark was built by volunteers. The Titanic was built by professionals. You may also ask, what does a director have to do? You can find a description of the duties of a director on the foundation website. You can also talk with any of the current directors about their work on the foundation. There's a great deal of information online about serving on a charitable foundation. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the work is easy or that it doesn't take time, because it does. But I am going to tell you that the time and the effort you give will be totally worth it. You may also ask, well, I am interested, but how will I apply? Applying is as simple as going to the foundation website and completing the online application. You have plenty of time to consider serving, to learn about the position, and to complete the application, because it's not due until January the 15th, 2021. On the next slide, you know, you may not be able to fix the world's many problems, but you can make a difference for the foundation. Be a superhero. The foundation needs you. Help build the future. Join the Alpha Delta State Ohio Educational Foundation team. You have never been more needed or more important. And in the words of the Lorax by Dr. Seuss, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. The nominating committee is looking forward to receiving your applications. If you have any questions, please address them to any member of the nominating committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kirby. Is there a fundraising report?
Yes, there is.
Thank
Hello, my name is Sandy Royer of Delta Kappa Chapter. Thank you all for attending today, as you are essential to fundraising efforts of ADSOEF. Building from the Heart was a success in our past year because donors like you and chapters contributed. Through your genuine philanthropic gifts, your foundation builds up funds. So on your behalf, we award grants, scholarships, fellowships, plus fund projects, lifelong learning, and leadership opportunities. Please see evidence of success through the pictures of our award recipients on the screen. These are our beneficiaries. Later, go to our Facebook page and see Naman Devanyam, our past A. Margaret Boyd International Study Overseas recipient, in video as she expresses her deepest gratitude. We, you and I, give from our hearts. We support the future of educational excellence. Today, I share our new annual campaign, A Heart for All. Our campaign is focused on the foundation's program funds without restriction. This year, we are asking that you invest without restriction, and so you are giving the Board of Directors the opportunity to direct funds where there is the most need, the most interest expressed by applicants for foundation program services, our beneficiaries. If you have a particular fund you prefer to support, you still have that option. Just use the general contribution form available at adsoef.weebly.com to make your choice for your investment. As we contribute money, we wholeheartedly support projects that focus on improving the lives of children in our communities, our students, and our education colleagues. We encourage lifelong learning and developing leaders. A few questions. Do you know someone who will apply? And will you encourage her? Or will you be one to seize the opportunity to submit an application for professional advancement? Much appreciation to you, our supporters, for your time, your talents, and your gifts, and for making your educational foundation's mission possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. The Marketing Committee Chairman posted a report on our website, and she also has something to share with us now. Jackie?
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Jackie Face-Burge, Alpha Upsilon, chapter of Miami-Dade County, and your marketing chair. As you can tell, ADSOEF is invested in technology. Part of the marketing plan depends on you and your use of technology, and it's very exciting to see over 80 of you here today with us. Are you a Facebook junkie? If you read the marketing report, you know that over 5,000 people saw, read, or interacted with our Facebook page from January to July 1st of this year. That's exciting news and great exposure. Not sure how to find us? This slide will help and be posted on the OSO website for future reference. At the top of the page of Facebook, there is a magnifying glass icon that Eileen is circling right now. Type in ADSOEF as shown by the blue arrow. It will pull up the ADSOEF page and perhaps give you other suggestions. Simply click the thumbs up icon and you will see posts from the ADSOEF page. Feel free to add comments to the post and share the posts as you see fit. What will you see when you get there? Look at the second blue arrow. This is an example of a video that was uploaded showcasing our A. Margaret Boyd recipient. You can expect to see other reminders, other awardees, and relevant ADSOEF news. Next slide, please, Eileen. Are you familiar with the OSO website? To review, access this website by typing in dkgohio.org in your internet browser. In addition to useful information from OSO, you will see, as indicated by the arrow in the middle of the page, where you can access information about ADSOEF. The arrow to the right, the gold color, takes you directly to the donation site that you, your friends, and family members can easily access 24/7. Next slide, please. You can also directly access ADSOEF information by typing in adsoef.weebly.com in your search bar. You will see a menu as pointed by the red arrow that you can directly access the different forms for various educational opportunities. And then, as indicated by the blue arrow over there, those are all the applications that you can access. There is also an area for forms for contributions. And then below that, there is our ADSOEF brochure that you may print off and share with others as you see fit. Many thanks go to Eileen McNally, who guides us in this area of technology. Please explore these great resources with your chapter members. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Is there a report from our Donor Relations Committee?
Yes, there is. Good afternoon. I am Betty Monahan, Chair of the Donor Relations Committee. I am happy to be representing the committee, all of the directors, and all of those who have received scholarships, grants, fellowships during the last year. You are awesome. Our hearts are filled with gratitude because of your generosity and support. You are creating a climate of philanthropy in the OSO organization. And you are assuring that excellence in education will continue to flourish in the state of Ohio. You are the heart of our organization. I'm sure we can all agree that the last several months have been strange, confusing, somewhat scary, and oftentimes sad. However, you have, during this time, you have remained strong and your spirits still willing. Even though our life these days seems to be virtual, your donations to the foundation have been real. Your hearts your hearts and your spirits have remained strong, exemplifying this DKG standard of forward moving ever, even during a pandemic. We honor you. You are the lifeblood of ADSOEF. I know it's very simple, but it is very sincere. We thank you.
Thank you, Betty. The chair now recognizes the Educational Services Committee Chairman, Diana Haskell.
Thank you, Kathy, again.
You're
As
welcome.
Kathy said, I serve as the Educational Services Committee Chairman. This committee was established by the board in June of 2019. As a new committee, we were charged with developing award criteria, award applications, and finally, a strategy to inform the foundation membership of the opportunities that are available through lifelong learning, individual classroom, community projects, and leadership grants. The committee defined the impact of the award process as creating change. Next slide, please, Eileen. It's my pleasure to introduce our committee to you. Chris Snoddy from Alpha Lambda Chapter is our team leader for individual classroom community project awards and grants. So she will be overseeing that part of our work. Jane Morner, Center from Alpha Delta Chapter, guides the process as our team leader for Lifelong Learning Awards. Karen Dunn, upper right, of Alpha Psi Chapter, is our team leader for Leadership Awards. She and the committee have received 3 leadership award applications already in the month of July, and Karen and her team have prepared a motion for the August board meeting. And of course, Meyer Bauer, most of you know and recognize her from the Gamma Phi chapter, is also on our committee. She provides tremendous insights and leadership skills to our work, and we are extremely grateful for the contributions of each member of our committee. Next slide, please. Imagine the possibilities for you. Consider creating change through lifelong learning opportunities in your personal learning by applying for a grant to cover expenses such as the Osher Lifelong Learning Institutes, other institutes, community education, and even Rhodes Scholar travel opportunities. Or by applying for a grant to support professional learning, whether that be through professional development or continuing education. And just like Ben Franklin, the committee believes that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Next slide, please. Let's imagine the impact that an individual or classroom or community award can produce. Think about or consider creating change through a project application that might be in support of a young artist group, literacy groups in math, reading, language classes for migrant women. Consider cultural enrichment, environmental education, as you consider ways that your community, a classroom, can be changed. Applications for this award of up to $500 may be sent to the committee at any time. Next slide, please. And imagine the power to create change. The ripple effect of investing in leadership is described by the words of John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more, you are a leader. The Leadership Awards create change by supporting the development of leaders to fulfill roles in a variety of settings, including not-for-profit and board participation. As with all of our awards, an application may be submitted at any time. Next slide, please. We invite you to participate. We invite you to invite others to participate, because we believe that you are the lifelong learner that we're looking for, that you are the one that will create changes in your classrooms and communities, and that you are the one that will change the number of women and the power of women willing to lead. We know that you'll be fulfilled when you take that initiative to imagine, and then further fulfilled as you take that initiative to create change. We cannot wait to hear from you. We encourage you to apply today. We promise you our forms are easy to fill out, and in fact, we are moving to a fillable format so that it is even easier to apply. Again, we can't wait for your application. You'll find them at adsoef.weebly.com under forms. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diana, for sharing these opportunities. Does the Scholarship Committee have a report?
Yes, the Scholarship Committee does have a report. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Marilyn Slusser, Delta Kappa Chapter, Northwest Montgomery County. It is a thrill to share exciting news from OSO ADSOEF Scholarship Committee. Our committee received 30 Esther H. Strickland student-teacher applications from students attending the state-supported universities in Ohio. From the money allocated in the ADSOEF budget, we were able to grant 10 $750 grants to outstanding recipients for the school year 2020-2021. These recipients are humbled and honored to be receiving this award as they begin their career in education. Watch as you get to meet each of the recipients and their respective universities. Megan Anderson, Wright State University. Emma Campbell, Miami University. Emily Crow, Miami University. Dalton Falder, The Ohio State University. Haley Garland, The Ohio State University. Chance Gooley, Ohio University Eastern Campus. Mary Piper, Miami University. Sarah Redditt, Miami University. Ryan Toretta, Miami University. Bryn Valentine, Ohio University, Zanesville. A big congratulations to all of these recipients. The OSO ADSOEF Scholarship Committee reviewed 6 dossiers from the Institute of International Education for the A. Margaret Boyd Overseas Fellowship for the school year 2020-2021. It is our good fortune to announce that Ganel Alisgrova from Azerbaijan will be coming to Kent State University as our recipient for the 2020-2021 school year. Ganel will be getting a master's degree in educational assessment, evaluation, and research. We will be hearing more about Ganel when she arrives in the United States. The Scholarship Committee wishes to thank all chapters and members for their contributions to the ADSOEF Foundation. Your donations have allowed us to provide funding to many worthy recipients. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. What exciting, exciting news. Is there any new business? Well, hearing none, I do encourage you to write any comments or things that you think about that ADSOEF could do into our website under About Us. There's a place where you can talk to us. Are there any announcements? Well, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you who decided to participate today. You are the foundation. You are the foundation. You who donate dollars, you who encourage members and non-members to apply for awards, you who volunteer time and talent as chapter representatives, as committee members, and as directors, and all those who help out if we do have a convention. You make funding the future of excellence in education happen. I challenge you today to keep it happening for the sake of future generations. Thank you. If there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. We will take, I see 2 chat questions. If there are any questions that any of you have, we'll take questions right now before you get off. But we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you to all directors.
Thank you.
Kathy, you've got a question.
Okay. Will a blanket announcement on the scholarship winners be sent out to chapters? That is a good idea. Marilyn, can you answer that, please?
That will definitely be on the Facebook page. Jackie is going to put the whole slide presentation on there as soon as this is finished today. That will also be in the Voice now that we have announced them.
And I can send it out to the chapter representatives so that you can have their names and colleges in case your chapter can get in touch with them.
Right. That's a good idea. Somebody wanted to know if Ganell is going to be able to come. As far as we know, Ganell's visa is legitimately allowing her to come into the United States because I checked with that already.
Excellent. Thank you all for being here. It's wonderful seeing your faces. It really is.
Agreed.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Have a good rest of the summer.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you so much, gals.
I'm sure some of us will meet again this way.
Be safe.
Yeah, you too.
Johanna, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You are welcome. It was a good meeting.
Kathy, do you want us to stay on?
I don't think we need to stay on if there aren't
Very
any
well.
other comments or questions.
No.
Okay.
Very well.
So
All right.
have a great afternoon. And
You
thank
too.
you.
Good day.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying long, but I think it was worth the conversation.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.